Time now for the Nick Hart Show, our weekly chat with the head coach of the Gibson Southern Titans, Nick Hart. It's brought to you by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Absolute Custom Machine LLC, ADG Architecture and Design Group Limited, Angermeyer Electric, Brett's Car Care, A&T Concrete Supply, Brian Stevens Homes, Carriage Inn, Chips, SellMyTees.com, by Cordray Insurance Agency, LLC, Shelter Insurance, by Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management, LLC, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Dilbeck Properties, Diversified Instruments, Duke Energy, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty, Rodney Langford, by Fast Break Convenience Stores, by Flanders, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Bryman Land Service, LLC, by Hobstadt Summerfest, by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum, Hillside Gardens Landscaping and Garden Center, HMC Gears, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Nathan Belote, by Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing Incorporated, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Fuquay, State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Key Construction Company Incorporated, Kiesel Wagner Survey LLC, by Lively Machine Company, by Landscape Supply Incorporated, Lowry Ag, by Mytech Systems, Morton Solar LLC, by National Vet Health, by Ohio Valley Grain Inspection Incorporated, also by Parker Excavating, Perfect Climate Heating, Air and Plumbing, by Pole Concrete Construction, Prodigy Mold and Tool Incorporated, by Pro Rehab of Hobstadt, Prudential Advisors, The Barthel Agency, Rawhide Golf Supplies, Riano Family Fitness, Sandy's Pizza and Mini Storage, Shearer Monument, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Singleton's Country Kennel, Stodgel Funeral Home, Team Black Law, PC, by Tai Chow, The Brass Ring and Pizza Kitchen, The Image Inks Company, Titan Construction Partners, TYFL, the Titan Youth Football League, by Varnado Construction, Vomac Truck Sales and Service Incorporated, We Simply Clean, by Whitledge Tree Service, and Young's Auto Body. The Nick Hart Show, a special production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department.
First, before the interview with Coach Nick Hart, a look at the stats from last week's game against Mount Vernon. Colin Shear, 1 attempt, 3 yards, 1 touchdown. Chase Thaxton, 30 attempts, 251 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Zach Foster, 9 attempts, 37 yards, and a touchdown. And Eli Foster, 2 attempts and 7 yards. In the passing game, Zach Foster went 21 for 32 for 191 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception, a passer rating of 99.9. In the receiving game, Chase Thaxton, 2 receptions, 24 yards. Seth Parsons, 2 receptions, 43 yards. Zach Foster had a reception for a negative yard. Maddox Potts, 3 receptions, 29 yards. Grant Stinson, 6 receptions, 65 yards. Lloyd Sellers, 6 receptions, 24 yards. Toby Pullum, 1 reception, 7 yards, and a touchdown. Grant Stinson also had 2 touchdowns. On the defensive end of the ball, Gunnar Alexander, an interception, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown, and Ben Reinhardt with 1 fumble recovery. Now to the interview with Coach Nick Hart. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Coach Nick Hart Show. I'm Riley Angel. Coach, first and foremost, it's really at the forefront of probably a lot of Gibson Southern fan minds at this point. What was your opinion on the sectional draw from this past Sunday?
I don't know. There's really no opinion. You just whatever the ping pong balls say it is. So, we got to take care of business this week. Continue to get better, and then late Friday night, early Saturday morning, we turn our attention to Heritage Hills and try and have a great week and prepare ourselves, to go out and try and beat a really, really good football team.
And speaking on the game this past Friday, Mount Vernon got on a pretty good start. How did you think the team responded to that early adversity?
Yeah, well, it's something we talked about last week. I don't think it's something we've handled particularly well throughout the course of the season. And so we decided to turn it over a couple times, and really put ourselves in that position to see how we'd respond. But I thought our kids did a great job. That's obviously not an ideal start, turning it over a couple times and getting down 14-0. But I thought we did a great job of responding throughout the entire game. So I was really proud. I thought that was I obviously would like to play cleaner and not have those turnovers, but I thought that was a big step forward for us as a football team to be able to play through, some of the bad stuff that happened early on. And, you kind of look at it after that, we outscored them 62-12. So again, I think we got to cut down on some mistakes. But as far as, playing through things and continuing to compete, I thought we did a much better job this past Friday.
It also seemed that in that second half, the run game and the pass game finally kind of merged together for the first time since South Warren. Thaxton obviously finishing with 251 yards and Zach finishing just under 200 yards. How important is it for the passing game and the rushing game to be working at the same time?
It's really important, and I'm not a big balance guy because if somebody's loading the box, then I think you're silly to try and run into it to be quote unquote balanced or vice versa. But it's important to be balanced in the fact that when you see those two things, right, to be able to have either option to do it, I think is very important. Being able to run the ball keeps people from being able to empty out the box and get more guys in coverage and pin their ears back and get after the quarterback, and being able to throw the football efficiently, keeps people from loading the box in the run game. So it's just I'm not a big balance like doing it in each game and being 50-50. But I think being able to have both of those things to protect, whether it's a running game, protecting the passing game, or vice versa, is very important to our offense.
And overall, what did you think of Chase's game that he had this past Friday?
Chase is great, and I think what more proud of than the yardage is he was huge in pass protection, in blitz pickup whenever we got heat. He had a fumble early and responded really well to that. I think those types of things, mean more to me than how many yards he ran for. I think he ran the ball really well. And I think our offensive line did a great job up front. It's probably the most physical we've played this year up front. I thought those guys up front did a wonderful job in the running game. And then Chase did a great job of seeing everything and hitting his cuts and, then doing something with it afterwards.
When we return to the Coach Nick Hart Show, we talk about a looming sectional and an overall game plan for Boonville this Friday.
The Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash is brought to you by Absolute Custom Machine LLC, ADG Architecture and Design Group Limited, Hangermeyer Electric, A&T Concrete Supply, Brian Stevens Homes, Brett's Car Care, Carriage Inn, Chips, SellMyTees.com, by Cordray Insurance Agency, LLC, Shelter Insurance, by Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management, LLC, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Dillbeck Properties, Diversified Instruments, Duke Energy, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty, Rodney Langford, by Fast Break Convenience Stores, by Flanders, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Bryman Land Service LLC, by Hobstadt Summerfest, and by Wabash Valley College.
And with sectional now being so close, is there any change in practice from the rest of the season, or does everything just kind of stay the same?
Pretty much stays the same. I think kind of as the year goes on, you get a little shorter, we do. We get a little bit shorter in practice. I'm not talking we only practice for 30 minutes now, but if we were at 2 hours to start the year, it's probably to like an hour 45. It just keeping guys fresh, keeping guys healthy, making sure they understand the game plan, where they're supposed to be. Those are the important things once you've played so many games is, I think you got to try and keep guys fresh and healthy, and but also you have to know what's going on. So there's some minor changes, but not a whole lot. I think it's important to kind of keep things as standard as you can as you head into big games.
And looking forward to Boonville, overall, what do you make of Boonville? They've won 2 in a row now, and what's your plan of attack for them without giving too much away?
Yeah, they've gotten really hot here. They got a young team, so I think that's pretty natural. That if you're young, you're going to get better as the year goes on. They do a lot of really nice things. I think defensively, they're always hard to attack and go after. They do a really good job out of their 3-3 stack. Something they've done for several years and have been really effective at. So, we got to be really efficient offensively to have a chance to move the ball. And then they have some nice weapons on offense. The quarterback does a really good job. He's a true dual threat guy, hurt you with his legs and throwing the ball. And then, they have a tight end that's got at least one Division I offer that's a junior. Their running back is very quick and elusive. So, they have some really nice pieces to their team, and their staff does a really good job. I think, one of the things about Boonville is every year that you play these guys, it's always one of the more physical football games that you'll play. So, I think that's a big thing on Friday is to match their physicality because they're always one of the more physical teams on our schedule.
Do you think it's a good thing to have a physical game like that right before playoffs in an away environment?
I don't know. It just, I guess I haven't really thought about it. It is what it is. I don't know if you want a physical game, especially when you have a really good opponent week 1, because then, the physical part of it is, are you gonna come out of it healthy? And our track record this year would not give me a whole lot of confidence. But no, I don't know. I don't know if I have a thought one way or the other because it's something I've never really thought about. It's a conference game, and the sectional is a sectional. We have no control over either one of those. So I do think it is a good test going into the playoffs because they're well coached. They've got good football players, and it's a good little test going into week 1 of the sectional.
When we return to the Coach Nick Hart Show, we talk about the confidence that this offense has gained over the past couple of weeks.
You're dialed in to the Nick Hart Show, brought to you by Whole Concrete Construction, Prodigy Mold and Tool Incorporated, by Pro Rehab of Hobstadt, Prudential Advisors, The Barthel Agency, Rawhide Golf Supplies, Riano Family Fitness, Sandy's Pizza and Mini Storage, Shearer Monument, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Singleton's Country Kennel, Stodgel Funeral Home, Team Black Law PC, by Tai Chow, The Brass Ring and Pizza Kitchen, The Image Inks Company, Titan Construction Partners, TYFL, the Titan Youth Football League, by Varnado Construction, Vomac Truck Sales and Service Incorporated, We Simply Clean, by Whitledge Tree Service, and Young's Auto Body. Time to go back now to the Nick Hart Show.
In the past two games, obviously scored 39 against Washington, 62 against Mount Vernon. So obviously the offense has found a way to gain some confidence after that first game against Heritage Hills. Do you think that'll continue on to this week?
Well, I hope so. You know, I hope so. I think this is probably the best defense that we face since Heritage Hill. So that will be the biggest test that we faced since then. Because I do think Boonville is good defensively. They always are, and I think they've gotten a lot better defensively as the years gone on. It'll be the biggest test since then. I hope, I think on both sides of the ball right now, most of our snaps look really good. I think we're playing at a high level. The issue on both sides, and this is, where we got to take a step forward Friday. The issue on both sides is some of the critical mistakes that we're making, whether it's a turnover or busting a coverage, missing a run fit, or missing a pass pro on a blitzer. When we don't hurt ourselves, we're having high success on both sides of the ball. And so we've got to take care of ourselves and clean that up. We got to coach better. We got to play better. And get rid of a lot of those mistakes that are killing drives and or giving up big plays to our opponents.
And are those mistakes more just a lapse of concentration more than anything else?
Some probably, yes. We busted one the other night off of emotion and we didn't get adjusted correctly in the back end of the defense. Some of the pass pro stuff where we're giving up some sacks on some blitzers, yeah, probably. I mean, turnovers are physical, right? Nobody wants to fumble. That part would be a little bit more physical. I think it's probably a combination of mental and physical type of stuff. But we're running out of time to fix those issues here as the season's, the regular season's quickly coming to an end. So I think that's a place this week that we've got to take a big step forward as a football team is play a cleaner game. I don't know if you ever play a completely clean game because people make this, mistakes are going to happen. But we got to be cleaner. Some of those mistakes we have to cut that number down as we go through a football game.
When we return to the Coach Nick Hart Show, we talk about a defensive game plan for Boonville and a wild matchup that these two had in 2012.
You're listening to The Nick Hart Show, brought to you by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum, Hillside Gardens Landscaping and Garden Center, HMC Gears, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Nathan Belote, by Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing Incorporated, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Fuquay, State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Key Construction Company Incorporated, Kiesel Wagner Survey LLC, by Lively Machine Company, by Landscape Supply Incorporated, Lowry Ag, by Mytech Systems, Morton Solar LLC, by National Vet Help, by Ohio Valley Grain Inspection Incorporated, Parker Excavating, and by Perfect Climate Heating, Air and Plumbing.
And looking again towards Boonville, as you mentioned, they have a nice dual threat quarterback under center. You faced a lot of those type of guys so far this year. So do you feel the defense is already kind of prepared for that look?
Yeah, a little bit. I think in the general sense, yes. Each guy that we've played like that has been, kind of their own entity in what they're doing. I think obviously you just kind of go back through the schedule and, the South Warren kid, he created a lot of not off designed runs, but off of scrambles and he threw it really well. And, the Goldsberry kid, does both really well, but obviously it's a lot more designed run than it is In the throw game, just by the way their offense is set up, not because he's not capable. And then, this week it's going to be a little bit more, I think, it might be a little bit more Heritage Hills-ish, where you're going to see a lot of two tight end type of stuff, a lot of run game. They have some read stuff in there, like power read, speed options, some design quarterback run stuff, and it can almost lull you to sleep on the back end. They're not going to throw it 40 times, so you have to be ready for it whenever it comes. And then he does a great job too, I think, of when there's not stuff there in the passing game, taking off and making a positive play for his team. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I think it helps. It's not the first time we faced a runner, but I think, because of style of offense and skill set, it can be a little bit different on how you want to attack those guys.
And offensively, without giving too much away, what's the plan of attack?
Yeah, I mean, it's their the stack. We know we're going to see pressure out of that stack, and picking it up and making sure we're following our rules, whether it be in the run game or pass protection, and making sure that we're getting blitzes picked up. Taking care of the football. Not turning it over in the way that we have been. We got to take better care of the ball. And like I said, just be efficient. Just stay on schedule. Um, be ahead of the sticks. We don't need huge plays. We just need to. I mean, huge plays are great. Don't get me wrong, but we just need to be efficient in what we're doing and not put ourselves in third and longs in bad situations, because then I mean it makes moving the football very difficult. So we got to be physical up front, because they're going to be, and then following all of our rules and taking care of the football.
And Scotty had a question about 2012, looking back on that game with the lightning delays and you guys ending up winning a thriller 33-31. What are your thoughts when you look back to that 2012 Boonville game?
That was wild, wild game. I think we were down a couple guys, and we scored with, I don't know what it was, 12 seconds left maybe, to take the lead. And as we're kicking the extra point, the storm sirens are going off, and they got us off the field before the kickoff. And we sat in Boonville for at least a couple hours, to finish those last 12 seconds of the ball game. So it was a kind of a wild back and forth, crazy game. And then you throw in the storm and the delay and everything. And I think we sat around and waited that long, and we kicked off, and they ran one play, and the game was over, and we got on the bus and went home. But it was a great come from behind win, and I think really kind of helped jumpstart that 2012 season, where we went on a big run to the semi-state.
And now, obviously, at week 9, when you look at where the team is this week compared to where they were at Danville, what improvements do you see? How many improvements do you see? And how do you think this team will look heading into sectional?
I don't know. I think we're better than we were at Danville, definitely offensively. I think, one thing we just have to do, and I think you kind of look back, whether it be games or in game, from game to game, is just our consistency. We haven't been as consistent as what we need to be. I think the South Warren game was the best we've played. I thought we were really consistent on both sides of the ball throughout the night. And then, as we've kind of gone through here, it's just been kind of up and down. And again, we kind of go back to some of those critical mistakes, and we have to play consistently, more consistently at a very high level. And like I said, everybody's gonna make mistakes. That's life. That's football. We make too many, and that makes us too inconsistent. And that's why, you can look one way in one quarter, and then, you kind of come out and you look like a completely different team in the next quarter. So, we've got to kind of find that high level, and make sure that we're playing with that as we go into the tournament, To me, it starts this week in practice, and Friday night is kind of getting that jump started as we head into the tournament.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time, and good luck this Friday.
All right. Thanks, Riley.
Thanks for listening to the Nick Hart Show, our weekly chat with the head coach of the Gibson Southern Titans, Nick Hart. It's brought to you by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Absolute Custom Machine LLC, ADG Architecture and Design Group Limited, Angermeyer Electric, A&T Concrete Supply, Brian Stevens Homes, Brett's Car Care, Carriage Inn, Chips, SellMyTees.com, by Cordray Insurance Agency LLC Shelter Insurance, by Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management LLC, Daywig Meats of Hobstock, Dilbeck Properties, Diversified Instruments, Duke Energy, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, by Fast Break Convenience Stores, by Flanders, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Bryman Land Service LLC, by Hobstadt Summerfest, by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum, Hillside Gardens Landscaping and Garden Center, HMC Gears, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Nathan Belote, by Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing Incorporated, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Fuquay, State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Key Construction Company Incorporated, Kiesel Wagner Survey LLC, by Lively Machine Company, by Landscape Supply Incorporated, Lowry Ag, by Mytech Systems, Morton Solar LLC, by National Vet Health, by Ohio Valley Grain Inspection Incorporated, also by Parker Excavating, Perfect Climate Heating, Air and Plumbing, by Pole Concrete Construction, Prodigy Mold and Tool Incorporated, by Pro Rehab of Hobstadt, Prudential Advisors, The Barthel Agency, Rawhide Golf Supplies, Riano Family Fitness, Sandy's Pizza and Mini Storage, Shearer Monument, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Singleton's Country Kennel, Stodgel Funeral Home, Team Black Law PC, by Tai Chow, The Brass Ring and Pizza Kitchen, The Image Inks Company, Titan Construction Partners, TYFL, the Titan Youth Football League, by Varnado Construction, Vomac Truck Sales and Service Incorporated, We Simply Clean, by Whitledge Tree Service, and Young's Auto Body. The Nick Hart Show, a special production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department.